going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my MMA Corner number 24 video. Going to go over topics that were sent to me. This, of course, is sponsored by Revolt Renegade clothing. Make sure to check out their hats, shirts. They do great MMA apparel. Going to go over topics that were sent to me. Like I said, the purpose of this video is for me to connect with you guys. To talk about subjects in MMA, whether it be fights that you want to talk about that could be possible, things that are going on as far as the news. Send your topics in. That's what the purpose of this video is. The first topic was sent in from Bod Marno. I wanted to know, Shogun versus Machida. Does Shogun deserve the title shot, and would he do well? Trying to think of who has said this phrase. Karsten has said this phrase many, many times. Beat Chuck Liddell or beat Chuck Liddell, and you get a title shot. And in the UFC, that is how it works, at least from Dana's point of view, and I guess from maybe even their business model from the last couple years. I think Shogun beating Chuck Liddell, maybe one more fight, at least in my opinion, he should have had in order to get the title shot, but we're going to see him get the title shot. If he comes in and looks like the Shogun that we saw against Chuck, and improves a little bit, he has a very good matchup against Machida. Do I think he wins the fight? I'm going to leave that for another day because that's a prediction for a video. But I think the matchup is good for Shogun. I think that he has a stylistic matchup that works well against Machida as far as his leg kicks and his elusiveness and the way he uses his head movement. But that's how I look at it. So yeah, I think you could justify Shogun getting the title shot. Maybe one more fight. Would he do well? We'll have to see how that plays out, but I think he does have a good stylistic matchup. So thanks for the topic. JRock51677, also known as Johnny Blaze. If you listen to the beatdown, he does call in from time to time. Wanted me to talk about Randy versus Machida at 205. What do I see happening? Randy would be a really interesting matchup against Machida because Randy likes to use the clinch a lot. Randy has decent boxing skills. He has decent hands. He would move forward on Machida. Would he be able to do well? I don't know. That's a tough fight to really decipher. I think that Machida, really for anyone at 205, is a tough matchup for anyone. It doesn't matter who it is right now in MMA. I think that he is not a good matchup for anyone. So it'd be an interesting fight. If Randy could expose Machida in the clinch, use his dirty boxing, he might be able to do some stuff. So thanks for the topic, Johnny Blaze. Next topic was from B-Funder B1. Wanted me to talk about what's going on with the title at 205. Well, we just talked about Machida versus Shogun. That is inked. That is going to happen. Tough will not, and when I say tough, the Ultimate Fighter is not going to put the title shot in limbo and put it into like a state of not being contested. There will be a fight for the title, and then the winner of, well, if Rampage beats Rashad, he will get the next shot. If he loses, we'll have to see who gets the next title shot at that point. But that's really what's going on as far as the mix of 205 and the title. So thanks for the topic. MMA Jacked 4. Make sure you check out his videos. He just started doing videos. He's into MMA, actually fights and trains. So make sure to check out his videos. But wanted me to talk about, will Kimbo be good for Tough, and will he do well in the UFC? Kimbo is very good for Tough, and I'll tell you why. This is Dana's dream as far as a business model for ratings. This season of The Ultimate Fighter, I guarantee you, will have the best ratings since its inception, and probably will have some of the best ratings on Spike probably from the last 2 to 3 years. Dana saw dollar signs in his eyes as soon as he got Kimbo signed, I'm sure. Can Kimbo do well in the UFC? Yes, he can. Now, note, he has to push himself. I've talked about this. I did a Kimbo video. You can go check that out on my channel. But he has to work on his wrestling. He has to work on his jiu-jitsu. He has to work on his ground game. He still has to work on his hands. Work on his cardio. A lot of things he needs to work on. If he works on those, if he pushes himself, if he dedicates himself to MMA, he can do things in the UFC. There's no doubt about it. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Thanks for the topic. Asylumite wanted me to talk about what fighters would benefit with the move up or down in weight. I'm going to focus more on the down in weight. 265 Mirko Cro Cop, which is heavyweight, 265 and below to 205. I think Mirko Cro Cop could make 205. He has put on a little bit more weight since he's fought in the UFC and even in Pride, but I think he could cut down to 205, and I think he would have really good matchups with some guys at that weight class. I think at 205, Vanderlei, of course, is the easy option there. He's going to be cutting down to 195 for the fight coming up this weekend, then down to 185, depending how that fight goes. At 185, Ricardo Almeida is already moving down in weight to 170. He'll definitely benefit from that move. He's going to be probably one of the better grapplers at that weight, if not the best grappler at that weight in the UFC. He's got decent striking. If he continues to improve on that, I think he can handle, hang with most of the guys in that division. Not be an amazing striker, but he'll be able to hold his own to get the fight down to the ground, which is where he wants it. At 170, Matt Serra, he's not ever probably going to cut back down to 155, but he should. That's his weight class. That's where he is the best at. Where he's had his most, of his success in the UFC was at 155. He's got, dynamite in both of his hands. He's got excellent jiu-jitsu, and I think that's where he's better suited. But, like I said, he's probably not going to cut down to that weight. At 155, Frankie Edgar should definitely cut to 145. The reasons that he stated before in interviews is he likes the UFC light. He likes being able to get the big money and to get the higher contracts, but he's better suited at 145. I think that if he fought at that weight class with the skills that he possesses, his wrestling, and even his jiu-jitsu and his boxing, he could give some guys at that weight class problems. But unfortunately, he's another guy that probably won't make the weight cut just because of personal reasons and because he wants to stay in the UFC. So thanks for the topic. These were all great topics for this MMA Corner. Make sure that you leave some comments, constructive, negative, positive. Make sure that you leave me some ideas, some suggestions for my next MMA Corner video, MMA Corner number 25. Make sure you check out justin.tv/MMAXL Radio. Me and Carson will be on this Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do our weekly radio show. It's going to be great. It'll be the aftermath after UFC 99, so make sure you check that out. I'll put the link up over in the description side. And on that note, you guys have a great day.